It's infectious. I can't help it. The way this guy laughs, bro. I can't. All right. Hello. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we got to watch the Latin American finals. Now, I got to be honest with y'all, I've never watched Latin American games, more or less. We have team from Brazil, who I know goes on to win this team in, or win this event in like TTV fashion, GG fashion, not dropping a single map. And BabyMazo, currently the rank 1 player, streamer on Twitch TV, and Latin American player, presumably from Brazil, going to be playing in that tri-lane, playing the Pikachu, and I wanted to watch this game, watch this set of games, and kind of give my thoughts. So let's go ahead and watch it. Both teams running the Dragonite jungle. I was going to say jungle Dragonite, but I said it weird. The Dragonite jungle, but I want to really just watch these games and give a little bit of representation to Latin America, because I personally have not had a chance to watch any Latin American games and see how they're playing. Realistically, it looks like a very Western style of play, so kind of to be expected. Very, very similar to what you would expect. Ooh, he's gonna fall down here, but he should be able to take one with him at very least. Fobzin, oh wow, look at that, staying alive. I think that Fobzin will be able to get out. Okay, cool. All right, so he's out, and this was all right before 850Bs. It seemed really like the fight, like right after. They actually didn't show us the build, so I can't speak on the builds. Like they cut to this, like you saw at the beginning. Before, like as the game was actually starting, so we didn't get to see the builds on this one, but it looks like they're doing pretty well right now. The only scores are the Lucarios, like I said, very Western style of play, with the 113 and the Electro Ball. I like that. Electro Ball, a really strong tool. You know, Pikachu has really great moves, I'm not gonna lie, just pretty much anything is really great. I'm expecting the Surf. Yeah, there we have the Surf. Expecting the Surf for sure. Nothing I've seen that's too like out of the ordinary feeling. The only thing I can say is that From Brazil is kind of stomping. He's got that heavy CC Pikachu build, like the Electro Ball and the Volt Tackle is just, it's a lot to deal with. I'm gonna assume with 14 points, it looks like no score shield on the Slowbro, so maybe double ban Buddy Barrier, something like that we'll see. And then again, really interesting to see the Dragonite being used on both teams. So Latin America is still really high priority on the Dragonite, probably the Dragon Dance Hyper Beam build, of course. It's pretty much the main build that gets played. And let's see, a little bit of jungle invade here, or just like catching out in the mid, trying to find some kind of strength. I think they're gonna go ahead and grab him. Guizin, not gonna be able to stay alive, and Fobzin has to kind of like back up and just hold the tower. 720B is gonna come up. Let's see, is this an E-speed? Yes, it is. It's a Bone Rush E-speed. Looks like it's a Bone Rush E-speed. Pretty standard, I'd say. I mean, close combat gets a lot of love in North America as well, but pretty standard to still see some Bone Rushes, I think. And Guizin, if he can get control of the evolution, that would be really big, because they otherwise will have to lose this flip or potentially take this flip. Ooh, BabyMazo making some really big decisions to dive the backline. I was gonna say big plays. I mean, had he got the kill on the Dragonite, that would have been a big play, and it actually looks like that's what Fobzin's looking to do as well. Just try to hard dive that backline and find some kind of an opportunity, because the problem is that their Dragonite has not evolved, and now that he doesn't have enough of a front line, enough support to force this. So you're gonna see it, like, yeah, right side team, Elite 5 is gonna go ahead and get control of it. But here's the thing, I know, and I mean, spoiler alert, sorry to tell you, From Brazil is gonna win this game, so I'm actually really excited to see them play from behind here. It looks like the Elite 5 orange team is gonna be pushing forward, but they were really low health, so pushing forward, if you can't afford to push forward, is like a really easy way to throw experience leads or anything like that, so we'll have to see. All right, little scuffle between the Lucarios. We'll see how they handle this lane. They send the Pikachu up. Usually in like North American meta, the Pikachus will stay down in bottom lane and tend to farm, but they've got like a 2-2 setup, supports and Lucarios. And with it being mirrored, I have to assume that this is something that's mostly practiced, right? Like something that gets practiced quite a bit. So we'll see how they decide to play this section. I want to see if they get aggressive here. I want to see if the Latin American teams are willing to be like calm. Ooh, okay, so Elite 5 getting a big gank in the bottom lane. They're gonna push out this Lucario from Brazil, from Brazil, and get some good dunk in bottom lane, which they didn't have previously because they were the team that had to kind of like back off after getting. Let's see, do we have a score shield here? I don't think I see a score shield. I definitely don't see a score shield, so not leaning into the strength of having a score shield, but maybe maybe getting I don't know, like a weakness policy to make the hyper beam bigger, or like a scope lens or something to give some crit on the actual character for auto attacking. Some kind of an interesting way of playing it there. They're gonna have to back up. Slowbro ult's been burned, and now we're coming into the kind of like scenario where second dread is spawning, so this mid-game fight. The mid-game lull kind of like had a bit of a pause in that top lane, so top lane was a small fight over Rotom. We didn't actually get to watch it, but from Brazil presumably getting it as they broke that top tower. But the game is incredibly close. Like, looking at the levels, we have like 9s up to 11 on the left-hand side, 9s up to 11 on the right-hand side. So very, very close game. This is going to determine a lot of this like mid-game strength going into the late game, and probably the point lead as well. Oh, so no hyper beam secure there. It's a little bit early from Brazil's Eldegoss. So really good opportunity from Brazil to win the top lane, like in the like earlier stage of the game, where Elite 5 just didn't have an opportunity to kind of like push their lead. So they got first dread, but they didn't really like do a lot with it, if that means anything. Like they didn't have the opportunity to go aggressive in top lane. They didn't take the opportunity to maybe use their ultimates that they got earlier than from Brazil, because they should have gotten some ultimates earlier than from Brazil. They didn't like take their lead and do anything with it. So I think that's really kind of what we're seeing here. Now with second dread going toward the side of from Brazil, they have the lead. They have like tier 1 towers down, holding about 120 point lead. What is it, 124? So 124 point lead. And now big push coming out from Elite 5. They use the Pikachu ult. They use the Mime ult as well. They're actually using a lot of Unite moves at like 325. So they're gonna take a score lead here. And that's good. That's a good play, as long as, well, they just shy of taking a score lead here. They just need to make sure that they can get Unite moves back. So they kind of need to get back to their side and get to farming. And it does look like From Brazil's going to get, well, they're getting contested. I was going to say, they're going to get this Rotom, but he's got the stacks on, right? Like, so he does get it. They know it's a close battle. We can see that it's a 2-point difference, but both teams knowing that it's a close battle. The only Unite move that I know that From Brazil has used was the Pikachu, but there was a few Unite moves from Elite 5, so they may not have that for the end game. Like Mime and Lucario specifically, at like 320, they might be able to get them back up. It really just depends on the farm, if they're prioritizing letting those players farm. Kind of see on the minimap, Mime playing for Vision. Interesting to see a tank Mime, you know, that gets played in EU by Bruv quite a bit, I'd say. But you don't really see tank Mimes in many other regions or in a lot of the rest of the world right now. 16 seconds, 15 seconds till final stretch, and we'll see how they decide to do it. I don't know. I really am not super optimistic that Elite 5 was able to get a lot of their Unite moves back, but we'll see. The Pikachu definitely, but not so sure about the other ones. So we'll have to see how they deal with this. Final fight, an incredibly close game. Incredibly close game. In terms of level, we have 11 up to 13 on a couple players, 11 up to 13 on a couple players on the other side as well. So very even, and we might even be seeing the Eldegoss farming just for some additional levels. Some good zoning, passive play in the mid, both teams just posturing. The Eldegoss is sitting in the top lane. That's weird. Is that a DC? That seems a little bizarre. That's got to be like a DC, right? Which is just like super unfortunate in the final 2 minutes of a game, but there's no way that the Eldegoss is just sitting there, so they're moving. Huh. Maybe that's why Elite 5 is just taking their time. I don't know if that's a bot, but that's unfortunate either way. Close battle. They're starting to put that mid pressure on it. BabyMazo getting some damage on it. He's down a third of HP. Okay, the Mime Unite move is getting in. No real value out of that. They do have the, oh my goodness. Okay. So one pick coming out from Elite 5. Now this is where they blow Unite moves. It's still kind of even in terms of Unite move economy though, because I don't know what all they burned to get that first Lucario kill. But it looks like Elite 5 is really just running this, or running from this, from Brazil, kind of running this fight, pushing them back. The biggest thing is that like if you get wiped out, then they have Dragonite, they just can rip it and take it for free. So that's probably what we're gonna see them do. But it wasn't the most clean fight in the world, so there's only 15 seconds left. Elite 5 is going to take the score lead. But if they get this and have a chance to turn in... Okay, Elite... Oh, I'm so confused. Oh, they're going to get the 100-point dunk. Look at that. That's just enough to win it. Wow. Okay, so like that last second... That was a really close game. That last second Zapdos secure gets them just enough time as the Eldegoss is walking forward to secure that. That was a really close game. That was a bit of a bizarre game. Let's go ahead and watch game number 2. Let me see if I can fast forward us in there. But that was a bit of a bizarre game because I think that they had an Eldegoss disconnect at the end. But honestly, the fight was just, they were just so passive. I feel like both teams were so incredibly passive. So let's look at the builds really quickly. Let's see. So the builds really quickly, we have double band buddy barrier on the Dragonite. You can't see it under my webcam. Double band buddy barrier on Pikachu. Pretty standard builds for both Mime and Eldegoss. And then we have a triple damage item build here. Weakness Razor attack weight. Weakness Razor attack weight. A double band buddy barrier on the Slowbro. That's what I expected. Double band buddy barrier. Pretty standard builds, except for, yeah, they're instead of using score shields, they're using focus bands on the Dragonite, which is pretty interesting because I think that score shield on Dragonite specifically is really, really good. I don't think focus band's bad, obviously, but you know, with the short the short cooldown and charge rate, because you can use that Unite move at like 50%. Pretty strong benefit of having Dragonite. So, all right, so let's go into game number 2. We'll see if this one is a little bit more clean. I kind of, listen, I'm going to be honest. I was kind of under the impression that From Brazil was like big stompers, right? But it doesn't really seem that way. Doesn't really seem that they're super, super stompy. I was getting the kind of GG vibes from the way that I was told to watch these games, but we'll have to see it. All right, take us in the game. Take us in the game. They like to talk a lot, which I totally respect because they look like they're having fun. And I think the Latin American... the studio, the set that they were on was really, really fun. It was a really, really cool thing that they put together. Bruh. All right. Well, I guess this is like as far back as it'll let me go. Probably cut as they were like already in the lane. So we have From Brazil on the right-hand side now. They're being very, very aggressive. Most likely secured the first Aldino. So they're looking to secure maybe what would be their third. Looks like they get it. So level 4 early on. I think they have enough points for that to be supported. Maybe they got 2-1. I'm not sure. Now the top lane, like 2v2 happening. A little bit early. 850B is coming up in 8 seconds. Very, very standard 1-1-3. So Latin America playing 1-1-3. See how they use the surf. Nice little angled surf so they can hit it and do some damage. They get the big, probably a couple smalls. So From Brazil doing really, really good in the tri lane now. Really good in the tri lane. This is a big, big dive, man. The 2v1 dives. That's going to be some good score there. That's going to really help out. Anytime a jungler gets an early score, man, that's how you pretty much know. You pretty much know they're going to have score lead. Or like experience lead, sorry. Experience lead going into first Dreadnought. You give up mid farm. You kind of have to. Like when you're that jungler, you can't really make it back there in time. You can see one Dragonite's farming out the mid, the other one's dragging out their safe side. So it's hard to deal with that, right? You're just gonna fall behind naturally. You don't get to get as much farm. You don't get the kill experience. You don't get the score experience. So From Brazil should have the Dragonite over Elite 5 this one. So this one might be a bit more of a stomp just because they might take the early lead. We'll see. Top lane, it looks like Falbzin is kind of pulling away a little bit, has about a level lead. So yeah, we have Dragonite versus Dratini still. Trying to get what farm he can. 720B's coming up in top lane. Surprising to see Dragonites going top lane. Because like you could be 720 for bottom lane, influence the bottom lane and insta flip because you know you're ahead. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm really, really shocked to see, a near level 9 Dragonite in top lane right now. Because the enemy Dragonite just got Dragonite now, he could be there already and probably start flipping. Granted, the timing's not that terrible. Like he's probably like a couple seconds behind, so maybe that's not what they're looking for. But I feel like that's probably what I would have done personally. We'll see. Sorry to getting flipped. One of them has level 9. He does go ahead and secure it. He's going to pop the ult. Unite move. That takes out the Pikachu. They peel back. They get the Lucario and the Mime. They're not super healthy, so they probably won't push too much here. And without a score shield, he can't really dump the 40 because he's got a focus ban. He can try, but he's going to get poked, right? No? Thought they might catch a Leaf Tornado there. Okay. So he gets the 40 in. That's surprising. 40-30. They leave that tower. So even similar strategy that like we kind of see over here in the West. I mean, it is Western side of the world, right? Like it's just similar strategy. We see them leaving that tower up. So controlling that bottom lane. They like to send the Pikachu's top, which I think is really interesting. They like to fight maybe with that first Pikachu ult in the top lane, and they'll just like keep the off lane Lucarios as opposed to like farming the bottom lane with the Pikachu ult. Put a little bit of pressure from Elite 5 because they know that they kind of have to trade. They can't really do a lot in top lane if they're behind, so they're putting the pressure on bottom lane, which I like, but doesn't really seem like they pay off because they were met. So Guizin, he's popping off. Guizin. Nice overdunk there. Was that like a 27 overdunk? 16 overdunk potential in top lane? They're going to go ahead and keep that up. Pressuring the farm. Really smart to try to just like keep them from being able to catch up, right? This is what I'm talking about. This is what it didn't feel like Elite 5 did. It didn't feel like Elite 5 was using their advantage to keep an advantage and to kind of like shove it down their throats, because that's what you have to do. You know, when you have this lead, you don't really want to give them room to come back. You need to hold the lead up until second dread, and then second dread, if you can secure it, will make sure that you keep your lead, right? It'll like more than guarantee that you keep your lead. Yeah, more than secure it. So 150 point difference. They're auto flipping. The enemy team's not there. So like Elite 5 here, in my opinion, they seem, I think, a slight bit inexperienced about maybe what to do against a team that is very, very good. Now, they're not bad, but I think that the shot calling feels like it's either behind, and listen, I totally understand because I'm like in the same position competitively. Like it's maybe like just a lack of experience, right? Like when you're behind, you have to make calls very, very quickly. You have to make decisions very, very quickly. They didn't really contest top lane. They didn't really contest bot lane. They were like in their own jungle. From Brazil gets the second dread for free. Like the levels are really pulling away. We have 11, you know, like levels 10 up to 13 versus 9 up to 11. So the levels are really pulling away. This is going to be some good experience from our Elite 5, especially if they full win this fight. So maybe this isn't even bad. It's like I said, if they can full win this fight, this would be a great fight for them to get some kills on, because they definitely need it. So kind of I want to call this a little bit of a misplay from Brazil, just because when you have the lead, you need to play aggressive so you can keep your lead, but you also don't want to throw your lead by giving up knockouts or kills or anything like that. So a little bit back and forth this game, but still mostly being dominated from Brazil. See if he can catch the Pikachu out. I mean, he doesn't really have anything there to follow up on. BabyMazo can use that Unite move, the 3, like just over 3 minutes with Pikachu. He's gonna go ahead and get a kill. Definitely gets a kill. No, the Mime walks away from it. Okay. Unfortunate. Really struggling. They know they're 200 points behind, or they know they're over 100 points behind. It just so happens to be 200 points even. And from Brazil's Dragonite's gonna go ahead and take this for free. I wonder if he holds it at all. He's just going ahead and smite it. There is a Dreadnought coming up, so if they can stay alive, Bobson uses his Unite move, which is like a little rash, I feel like. But if they get this dread for free, then they got all 3 Dreadnoughts. They got 2 Rotoms. Like they're definitely, it's their game to lose for sure. It is definitely their game to lose. All right, let's see how they play this fight, because they're much ahead, much more ahead. All right, they get straight in there. Yeah, this is kind of what I wanted to see, to be completely honest. When you're just this far ahead. So, Unite move here, though, is all. So, like, if the Pikachu was, like, focusing him, I think he probably would have just died. And the enemy Dragonite's, like, in to contest, but they can't really. See BabyMazo using the Unite move. Unite move coming out from Brazil on their Dragonite. A back cap happens, but it doesn't really matter. They just need to rip this at this point. Like, yeah, the Lucario's up, but they just rip it with the Dragonite and they secure it. They're going to win. They were just so far ahead. Like, playing aggressive in this fight made a lot of sense. And they just rip. It's over. There you have it. So, I'm going to be honest. Listen, I don't mean to rag on a region, but it definitely seems like some mistakes were made from both teams. Again, I'm not perfect. I'm far, far from perfect. These teams are probably much better than where I'm at competitively. But it seems like a lack of, like, either like a lack of discipline or like a lack of, like, maybe clear shot calling from like Elite 5 to take the lead and then run with it, but also to from Brazil to get the lead and then maybe, not take the riskier fights and then give up some of that experience. But that said, their in-game fight was really, really clean. They got into that in-game. The teams just know it's over. They got into that end game and they were able to, like, close it out. So GG's to them. So friends, let me know your thoughts. I mean, the Latin American region looks very, very similar to just a normal Western style of play. For sure it does. And interesting to see the Dragonites picked in such high regard, like, are played in such high regard. This is funny. But as always, friends, thank you so much for watching. Interesting stuff. I'd like to see more from the Latin American region and see how they end up stacking up against the other teams at the world stage. Friends, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.